This is Fred Beck from Fred Talks Fighting. Today, I'm very lucky. We're joined by, once again, John Harding Jr. So thank you
Sorry,
for coming on again, John.
I'm there. We're there. I'm in the building. Thank you so much for having me. Much appreciated. Yeah, man. What's good?
Yeah, it's good to see you again, John, mate. So
Yeah.
I just want to go back a few years to when you were growing up, because I saw an interview of you recently, and you said that when you were growing up, every day was a battle for you. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Every day was just a battle. In many different ways, man. The battle of just being not picked on. You know what I mean? Because where I grew up, if you're weak, people pounce on you even more. It was hard, even just being of African descendants. If you know what I mean, just being African. It was hard. You know what I mean? I was dark, so it was a battle. There was always verbal battling as well. You know, verbal battling a lot. Cussing, you cuss that, and that's okay. That's what's kind of developed some of my jokey side. You might think, Cameron, because growing up, you had to always defend yourself with your words, or your words would get you in trouble. So it was always a constant battle. And also just a physical battle, man. The verbal battle could lead to a physical battle, and you're encouraged to fight. So seeing that, growing up in just battling from an estate is just was embedded. It's only when I see kids growing up and I think, wow, I couldn't imagine them going through what I was going through. If you know what I mean? Like I said, my nephew, and I look at him and I think, wow, damn, imagine he was going through that, or he had, he was in some form of trouble at the time, running down, and there's like a gang of 30 people chasing after him. You know what I mean? And I think, wow, at that age, and man, I was young. I was young those days, man.
And how often growing up would if you saying dissing someone, they diss you back, how often would that lead to a fight?
Ooh, very often, having a one-on-one was normal. It was seen as normal, and it's only when I started realizing it's not, because in my head growing up, it was just like, okay, if we have a dispute, we have one-on-one, everyone watches, make circle, it's entertainment for them, and then I've had that, and then I'm friends with the person maybe the next day or two. You know what I mean? It's just normal. But seeing that's what I was watching growing up, like the older lot, that's what they'll do. They'll have their fights amongst themselves, and that was an internal battle. And then the next battle, you got a rival gang battle. So you've always got the internal one, and you've got the one outside as well. You know what I mean? And that's the outside brings you together. You know what I mean? So it's weird to try and describe it, but yeah, outside, but you got to stop, and you bring it together. But when we're left alone from the outside, there's always something good, because you're caged, man. You're in the estate. Someone lives up above you, to the side of you. There. You see estates are a lot different, because you see each other each day, and it's just a constant battle.
Is up right now.
Wow. So.
Yeah. And so nowadays, in the olden days, you get into a fight, you might throw a few punches and you respect them after. Nowadays, someone might have a knife on them, maybe even a gun in a very extreme version. How often would that happen? Someone might get stabbed, or if you don't want to talk about it, that's totally fine. But how often?
Well, in my days, it wasn't more. It wasn't. How can I say? Didn't in the beginning days, it didn't lead to that. It was normal to have a fist fight. It was just so normal to just have a fist fight with a friend, and it was just like a thing. Oh, there's a fight. You all run to go watch it. You know what I mean? It was like an excitement. Oh, what is that fight? You know me, we were watching it, and that was school days. It was always normal. Oh, it's a fight. It's a squaffle. Later down the line, that was more like if you got a rival gang. That's when it would probably be weapons and etc. And you see it. You see your friends get stabbed, shot, and etc. But this new generation growing up, it's a bit more, a lot more ruthless. You know what I mean? They don't understand the consequences. And yeah.
And obviously, when you're growing up, you're still going to primary school, secondary school, maybe even college. Did school protect you from any of that? Or did it kind of add wood to the fire in a way? Because you might become mates with someone in class that might be from an opposite gang.
Did school protect us? That's a very good one. School didn't, because a rival gang will know that school contains enemies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you always had maybe one pupil that was from opposite. So ours was a bit like I don't know if you watch Blue Story.
Yeah, I've
Okay,
seen the story.
okay, Blue Story. That was us. That whole story is us. Ghetto Peckham. That's me. That's where I'm from. New Cross. You know what I mean? They said Deptford, but Ghetto Boys was based where I grew up. It's based there. And some of those scenarios happen. I remember having friends that went to a school in Peckham, and they had friends so that they were a bit cool, but sometimes when tensions boiled up, they'll be looked at different, and sometimes have to leave school earlier until it was a bit, there was boys outside the school and had to sneak off. And yeah, it was very hard in that sense, man. You might have a friend and he's from Peckham, and then you just kind of have to distance apart. Or sometimes it can save you. You can be in a certain position and that guy says, no, I know him, leave him alone. You know what I mean? Leave them alone. So I've even been in that position where I was playing basketball with a guy from Peckham when I was very young, very young. When they've come to attack us, when they approached me, lucky he recognized me and said, nah, he's nothing to do. So those little things there could have helped, if you get what I'm saying. I know it's very hard to kind of describe it, but I'm trying to describe as much as possible.
Yeah, I can understand. It's probably quite relieving if a whole gang's coming to attack you and someone says, "Oh no, leave him alone." But if you don't want to talk about I just want to touch on the prison side of things. When
Yeah.
you first went to prison, was it kind of, obviously might sound a bit stupid, but was it kind of a relief to get away from all the gang culture? Or was it even worse because in prison there'd be more people from the gangs?
I didn't go in at the peak because there were stages we went through gang. There were stages of when we going against a rival gang, Peckham, etc., the Wooded, other areas in Southeast. And then when that all died out, we started having trouble amongst each other. So then that made it was a bit even worse. When I first went to prison, I don't think it was really a relief because you don't, my first time, I don't know what to see. Just like how you're hearing, you don't know. It's all the unknown, you don't know who to see. And it's not like on the streets, you could just talk your rubbish or whatever, or fight and go about. You're always going to probably see the person somehow. It's hard for, I've seen some people where on the streets, they've got fame, they're gangster, they're bad. In the prison, they're not because they're alone. They're stripped of everything. There's no weapon. They've only got this and not. And there's some people that are in prison and they know how the system works. So they know that if they have a fight with you, it's going to get broken up. So they might be even more, I would say, gangster. But on the road, streets, they're not. It's very crazy. I'm trying to just describe it a bit, if you know what I mean, so that is understanding. It's very hard when you haven't been, so you won't understand how it was. But it was just more like, and for me, prison was more like an eye opener, realizing, wow, I could have been in this situation, could have been that, and you seeing people with longer sentences, life, or in a road that you could have went down. It gives you an eye opener, but you can instantly forget when you come back outside.
Would you say prison was kind of like a turning point for you?
Yeah, very, very much turning point, man. My last sentence, I think, was just like, I was not coming back. And I had to fight off the labels. Someone just come out of prison. You got a family member that's been in prison. It's his third time in there. What do you expect? What would you tell your cousin or your friend what to be around him? He goes to prison. You know what I mean? Like, don't follow, like, you know what I mean? Don't trust him. He's a bit, you know what I mean? Or people, especially someone who hasn't been in prison, so people, when they come out, they might just turn on you and rob you or etc. Because things can happen. I've helped someone that's come out of prison, a good friend, and he's just run around and back. I didn't even promote, but he's just backstabbing and going about his business. So that's sometimes a risk. So do you imagine, you're one of your friends or family that's come out, you're gonna want him to stay away. And that was one of the things I had to go through, the label of you go to prison, don't trust him, what he does, or what any ideas he's got. I had plans, I had ideas, I had no one to really help. And I just had to dig, chisel away every day. Chisel away every day with just hope. Just hope that it's gonna be all right. I'm gonna be in a position. Yeah.
And I guess, and then after you came out of prison, you kind of found boxing then. How did you manage to kind of put all behind you, kind of get rid of the label, and then start pushing on with the boxing, working hard with the boxing?
I was on and off with during my years. I was amateur. I didn't have many in the gym, but when I came out, I was like, you know what? I'm not smoking. I'm not smoking. Quit that, and I came out and I just put myself around boxers. I can list, a lot of boxers that helped me, from Chris Congo, Isaac Chamberlain. I was around him. Richard Riakpo. I used to. Dwayne Sinclair, Joshua Boatsi. I was sparring all these guys. Some of them I was sparring on my home leaves. Some of them didn't even know I was coming out for a weekend release, coming out. I was around these guys. Daniel Aziz used to come pick me up. Then those times he had Lawrence Okolie around him. I jumped in, sparred with him. And I was just putting myself around these people, forcing. Every time I jumped into the ring, it was a weird feeling because I would get someone's attention. They'll say, "Wow, he can fight." You know what I mean? And he can fight. You know what I mean? And that was the first time where I really, really felt, wow, I get love for something. You know what I mean? No one cared. No one didn't care my age or nothing. It was just, wow, he's got something there.
I guess you kind of feel like you get all the respect when everyone's looking at you in the ring and you're doing well in sparring, you're not getting hit, you're landing the punches, you kind of get the respect, you kind of get the buzz off it all. And
Mm.
when did you originally meet Dillon White, who had become your manager? What was that like? Because Dillon's very respected in boxing.
How did I meet? Uh,
I think he saw you sparring, didn't he? And he was very impressed. That's how you kind of got with him.
yeah. There was a few. I first saw him. Originally, I was actually walking back from I was walking back. It was a time before my last bit of my sentence. I used to work outside the prison for free in the library, just for that little freedom walk. Just that walk freedom, maybe grab some McDonald's and get back to the prison, quick eat on my way there. We walk past each other. And we always talk about this. I remember when I walked about, you were scared of me. I was scared, like, jokingly. And that's when we first initially. And properly when we spoke was he was fighting Anthony Joshua at Miguel's gym. And I don't know, I just was vouching for him so much. And he was just offering advice, like, yeah, you guys, keep training, blah, blah. Then even after that, he would just generally come to the gym, see us spar. And how it properly, I think it properly took off. One day I came down the gym and it was just me, him, and our physio. Yeah. And he just said, "You on the spot?" And I said, "Yeah." And that was it. They just went from there. We just grew more closer. Then I was just kept getting called for sparring for the Joseph. He was fighting. It was Joseph Parker. He was going to get announced. He needed the movement. So I was there, and there was just one time we were just sparring, and the whole gym was just standing up watching that to say, "What the heck? Like, look at the weight difference. These guys are just going." It was just like to and fro, boom, boom, and that was it. And then he was just telling me, if you can do what you do in sparring in the ring, you're gonna go far. And it's been a challenging because I haven't had experience behind me. Experience on the night is always different, but that's one of the things I'm adjusting to, is bringing what I do in sparring, the comfortability, the movement, the hit and don't be hit, bringing it back into the ring, and that's what he's and that's where we went from there.
I've only got one question left, so I don't take too much of your time. But do you think boxing saved your life?
Boxing brought love in my life. Boxing brought, man, I can tell you, there's a time through my area I grew up with split, and some people saw me as an enemy, but through love, the same people that see me as enemy see me as look up to what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Reach out. It's caused a lot of healing in terms of building bridges, family. It's done a lot, man. It's done to actually think how it has done. It's it's brought a whole audience to me. It's brought a lot of love, a lot of support that has come. With support, you're always gonna get, you're gonna get your YouTube warriors, the keyboard was, but I always know when I look at it, I say I must be doing well for them to have an opinion on my life. So boxing's done a lot, and it's changed. You know what I mean? Look, you're talking to me now. If it weren't for boxing, you won't be talking to me. So it's done a lot, and I can't wait to just continue to the next level.
And I bet all the fans are excited for you because you've got a very fan-friendly style. All right, John, don't take too much of your time, but thank you so much for the interview. And I really appreciate it. And where can people find you on social media at?
Just hit up Festive Superstar John Harding Jr. Festive Superstar will get you to all the socials. I know you're John Harding Jr. You'll find me.
All right, John, that's awesome. Thank you so much for the interview. Thank you, mate.
Thanks, bro.